Chosen one, this is not random and this is not replay. You were drawn here because the appointed hour on heaven's clock has arrived and your prophetic scroll is being unsealed in perfect Kairos timing. What you are sensing right now is not curiosity, it is recognition. The same voice that declared restoration over the years the locust consumed is awakening something ancient within you, because what was written for this moment before your birth is beginning to open. Anointed one, you are standing at the edge of a destined shift. A sealed prophecy is loosening a long-awaited unlocking that can unfold today, tonight, or in the coming hours and days. Scripture reminds us that there is a time for every purpose under heaven, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, and this is your time. The vision may have tarried, but it will speak. It will not lie, as written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. In this hour, heaven accelerates what once waited. Hear this clearly. This is not a lesson. This is a transfer of energy. Stay with me to the end, so the impartation completes and the shift settles fully in your body, your spirit, and your circumstances. If your spirit bears witness, quietly align yourself, tap subscribe, so you don't miss what heaven continues to release. Comment 777 as a sign of divine alignment and write the city you're in, so this anointing can flow to where you stand. Listen all the way through. The transformation has already begun. Chosen one. What you are experiencing right now is not imagination, and it is not wishful thinking. There is a reason your spirit has felt unusually alert, sensitive, even stirred beneath the surface of ordinary days. Heaven does not announce itself with noise. It moves with precision. And in this Kairos moment, something long sealed has begun to open inside you. There are seasons when God works externally, changing circumstances, shifting people, opening doors. And then there are seasons like this one when He works internally first, quietly, intentionally, at the level of identity, rhythm, and design. This is one of those seasons. The weariness you carried was never a sign of decline. It was the residue of delay. You were not breaking down. You were waiting for alignment. I've learned this through my own walk. There were years when my body felt heavier than my faith, when my energy didn't match my calling, when mornings felt slower than they should have. I thought something was wrong with me, but nothing was wrong. Heaven was holding something back until the exact moment it could return with purpose. That is what is happening to you now. Chosen one. The strength that is returning to you is not random vitality. It is assigned strength. It is strength with a destination. God does not restore without intention. When He redeems years, He does not rewind you for nostalgia. He recalibrates you for mission. What is reawakening in your body, your clarity, your emotional steadiness, is connected to work that must be completed, impact that must be made, presence that must be carried. This is why it feels sudden. This is why it feels urgent. Kairos moments always do. Scripture reminds us that when the time is right, the Lord hastens it. That hastening is not rushed, it is precise. You are not aging backwards by accident. You are being brought back into sync with a blueprint written before interruption, before strain, before survival mode became normal. Notice how your body has been responding lately. Subtle shifts, a lighter breath, a clearer thought, a moment when joy appears without effort. These are not emotional fluctuations. They are signals. Heaven speaks through order returning. When peace settles into the nervous system, when clarity replaces mental fog, when rest becomes restorative again, it is not psychology alone. It is alignment. Anointed one. You are not being restored to look young. You are being restored to move freely, to stand without strain, to think without heaviness, to speak without exhaustion. Aging was never meant to silence you. It was never meant to shrink your influence. What entered through broken systems is now being overridden by divine order. There is a reason you were drawn to this message now and not years ago. You would not have been able to carry it then. The scroll opens when the vessel is ready, and readiness does not mean perfection, it means surrender. Somewhere along the way, without even realizing it, you stopped striving to hold everything together. You released control. You allowed God to meet you in your limitations. That is when restoration began. Chosen one, the fire returning to you is not emotional hype. It is sustainable. It is steady. It is the kind of strength that does not burn out because it is fueled by obedience, not adrenaline. You will notice that your steps feel more intentional now, your thoughts less scattered, your presence more grounded. This is not about speed, it is about flow. I want you to hear this clearly. Your body is not betraying you. It has been waiting for instruction. And now instruction has come. The same God who authored time is reminding your cells, your systems, your breath, what rhythm feels like when heaven leads. This is why things are shifting faster than logic can explain. Divine order does not need permission from history. You are standing at the threshold of a season where your inner life and outer expression begin to agree again, where who you are aligns with how you move through the world, where energy returns not to impress but to sustain. This is not reversal for display. It is restoration for assignment, and this is only the beginning. Chosen one. There is a reason the change you're sensing feels deeper than motivation and quieter than excitement. What is unfolding now is not loud because it is foundational. Heaven always works at the level of roots before it touches branches. Long before visible strength returns, God restores internal agreement between spirit, body, and assignment. That agreement is forming inside you now. For a long time you lived slightly out of rhythm, not sinful, not broken, just misaligned. You carried responsibilities before receiving reinforcement. You endured seasons where output exceeded renewal. And over time, your body learned survival instead of flow. Many people normalize that state. You didn't. Something in you always knew this was not how life was meant to feel. That knowing was not rebellion. It was memory. Your spirit remembers what wholeness feels like. It remembers the pace heaven designed for you before urgency hijacked your days, before pressure rewired your nervous system, before fatigue tried to convince you that slowing down meant falling behind. You were never created to run on depletion. You were created to move from supply. I've walked this path myself. There was a season when I could function, but I couldn't flourish. I showed up, but I wasn't fully present. My body was moving forward while my spirit was waiting for permission to exhale. And it wasn't until I stopped resisting stillness that I realized God wasn't withholding strength, He was protecting it. What I thought was delay was actually preservation. Chosen one, that is what happened to you. The reason your energy is returning now is because the demand has shifted. Heaven does not restore capacity without a corresponding assignment. Something ahead of you requires clarity, steadiness, and presence, not haste, not anxiety, not burnout. The old version of you could have accomplished tasks. The restored version of you will carry authority. This is why the restoration feels intelligent. It is not random vitality. It is targeted. You may notice that certain aches ease while others take longer, that some areas of your life respond immediately while others unfold gradually. This is not inconsistency, it is order. God restores in sequence, not chaos. Anointed one, your body is not separate from your calling. It is the instrument through which your purpose is expressed. When Scripture speaks of being renewed, it does not mean escaping the physical, it means redeeming it. Your breath, your posture, your stamina, even your facial expression are part of the message you carry. People will feel something before you ever say a word. That is why peace is settling into your system first, because peace is the foundation of authority. A regulated spirit produces regulated movement. A settled inner world produces sustainable outward impact. Heaven is teaching your body how to rest without guilt and how to move without strain. You may also notice something else: your tolerance for unnecessary stress is dropping. What you once pushed through now feels misaligned. Loud environments drain you faster. Meaningless urgency irritates your spirit. This is not weakness, this is refinement. Your system is being recalibrated to protect what God is restoring. There is a sacred economy at work here. God does not pour new wine into old containers. And containers are not just beliefs, they are habits, rhythms, and internal agreements. Some of the tiredness you experienced before was not age, it was resistance. You were carrying weights that were never assigned to you. Chosen one, heaven is lifting those weights now. As this happens, your confidence will begin to return, but not the loud kind, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself, the kind that knows when to speak and when to remain still. You will feel less rushed to explain yourself, less pressured to justify your pace. Alignment produces discernment. This restoration is also emotional. Old disappointments are losing their charge. Memories that once drained you now feel distant, almost neutral. This is not suppression, this is healing. When God restores strength, He also restores perspective. You are no longer interpreting your future through the lens of what tired you in the past. And perhaps most importantly, your sense of time is changing. You no longer feel chased by it. You feel accompanied by it. This is one of the clearest signs of Kairos alignment. Chronos counts minutes. Kairos redeems moments. You are stepping into a flow where progress feels natural again. Chosen one. Nothing about this restoration is cosmetic. It is not about appearing youthful. It is about becoming available, fully available for what is next. Heaven is not turning the clock back. It is bringing you forward into a season where strength, wisdom, and timing finally agree. And as this agreement deepens, you will begin to recognize yourself again, not who you used to be, but who you were always meant to walk, as when nothing was missing. Chosen one, as this restoration continues to settle into you, something subtle but unmistakable begins to happen. Your sense of identity starts to stabilize. Not in a dramatic way, not through declarations or affirmations, but through quiet recognition. You begin to feel like yourself again, yet not the version shaped by survival, compromise, or endurance. This is a deeper remembering. There is a difference between youth and origin. Youth is an age. Origin is a design. What God is restoring in you now is not the appearance of an earlier chapter, but the integrity of the original one. Before life demanded adaptation, before disappointment trained you to brace yourself, before responsibility taught you to harden in places meant to stay soft, there was a version of you that moved with trust. That version never left. It waited. Many people believe time takes things away. It doesn't. Misalignment does. When the soul lives too long out of agreement with its assignment, fatigue shows up in the body as a messenger. It's not punishment, it's communication. Your body was never failing you. It was asking for heaven's order to return. I've seen this pattern again and again, both in my own life and in others I've walked with. People don't lose energy because they age. They lose energy because they've been carrying timelines that don't belong to them. They've been measuring themselves against clocks God never authorized. When heaven intervenes, the first thing it restores is permission to move at the pace of purpose again. Chosen one, that permission has been granted to you. This is why your inner resistance to rushing is growing, why you no longer feel impressed by speed for its own sake, why your spirit now pauses before decisions that once felt automatic. You are not slowing down. You are recalibrating. There is a difference. One comes from fear, the other comes from wisdom. As this recalibration deepens, your body begins to respond in ways that feel almost intelligent. Sleep becomes more restorative. Breath becomes deeper without effort. Movement feels smoother. Even your facial muscles soften. These are not coincidences. They are signs of internal safety returning. When the soul feels safe, the body stops bracing. This is also why joy is beginning to reappear in unexpected moments. Not the performative joy people put on to stay positive, but the quiet kind that rises without explanation. A memory surfaces, and instead of pain, you feel gratitude. A challenge appears, and instead of panic, you feel curiosity. This is not denial. This is healing maturing. Anointed one, heaven is not erasing your history. It is redeeming it. Everything you endured trained you to carry what is coming without losing yourself. The years that felt heavy were not wasted. They were formative, but they were never meant to define your ceiling. They were meant to shape your foundation. What is happening now is a transfer of authority, not the authority that dominates, but the authority that rests. The kind of authority that doesn't announce itself, but changes atmospheres simply by being present. You will notice people responding to you differently, listening more closely, trusting your words without knowing why. This is not charisma, it is coherence. Your inner world is coming back into agreement with heaven's design, and agreement carries weight. You may also notice that certain relationships begin to shift. Some naturally deepen, others quietly fade. This is not loss, it is alignment. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into a season where you are no longer fragmented. Some connections were sustained by the version of you that was always compensating. As that version dissolves, clarity replaces obligation. Chosen one. This restoration is teaching you how to live without apologizing for your pace, your needs, or your boundaries. Not because you've become rigid, but because you've become rooted. Rooted people don't rush, they grow. There is also a strengthening happening in your discernment. You can feel when something is off without needing proof. You can sense when to engage and when to withdraw. This is not hypervigilance, it is attunement. When the body is no longer in survival, intuition sharpens naturally. You are not becoming younger to escape responsibility. You are becoming whole to carry it well. And perhaps the most important shift of all, you are beginning to trust your body again. Trust its signals, trust its rhythms, trust its wisdom. That trust was interrupted long ago by pressure, comparison, and expectation. Heaven is restoring it now. When trust returns, flow follows. Chosen one, you are not being returned to who you were. You are being revealed as who you've always been beneath the weight of time that never belonged to you. And as this revelation continues, what once felt like effort will begin to feel like alignment, steady, grounded, and unmistakably alive. Chosen one, as this alignment settles deeper, you may begin to notice that your relationship with effort itself is changing. Tasks that once drained you no longer require the same force. Decisions that once felt heavy now arrive with clarity. This is not because life has become simpler, but because resistance is dissolving. When heaven restores order, friction fades. There is a truth few people are taught. Exhaustion is often the result of carrying outcomes instead of assignments. For a long time you tried to manage results, how things would turn out, how others would respond, how long it would take. That kind of weight does not belong to the soul. It compresses the body over time. What is happening now is a release of outcomes back to God, and with that release comes strength. I remember the moment I realized this in my own life. I was doing all the right things, saying all the right words, but my body felt heavy. It wasn't until I stopped trying to anticipate the future that energy returned. Not instantly, but steadily. Heaven does not rush restoration. It stabilizes it. Chosen one. Your body is responding to the same truth. You are no longer carrying tomorrow in your muscles. You are inhabiting today. That shift alone changes everything. This is why your movements feel more intentional now, why your words land with less explanation, why silence no longer feels awkward. When inner agreement is restored, you no longer overcompensate. You no longer push to be seen. Presence speaks for itself. There is also a recalibration happening in how you experience emotions. You still feel deeply, but you are no longer overwhelmed by what you feel. Emotions move through you instead of lodging inside you. This is one of the clearest signs of healing at the nervous system level. When emotions are processed rather than stored, the body relaxes. Breath deepens. Energy returns. Anointed one. You are not losing sensitivity. You are gaining regulation. Sensitivity without regulation leads to burnout. Sensitivity with regulation becomes discernment. Heaven is teaching your system how to hold intensity without strain. You may find that your reactions are slower now, but wiser. You pause before responding. You listen more than you speak. This is not hesitation, it is sovereignty. When the soul is no longer rushed, it governs rather than reacts. There is something else unfolding that may surprise you. Your creativity is returning. Ideas surface without forcing. Solutions appear without overthinking. This is because creativity flows from rest, not pressure. When the body is safe, the mind becomes fertile again. This is why children create so easily. Their systems are not yet burdened by fear of failure. Heaven is restoring that openness in you, not to make you naive, but to make you fluid. Wisdom without rigidity is power. Chosen one. This restoration is also preparing you for visibility. Not the kind that seeks attention, but the kind that carries influence. You will find yourself placed in conversations where your calm becomes the anchor. Your steadiness becomes the reference point. People will trust you instinctively, not because of your credentials, but because your presence feels coherent. That coherence is the result of integration. Spirit, mind, and body are coming back into agreement. When agreement is restored, authority emerges naturally. You may also notice that time feels different now. Days feel fuller, even when they are quieter. Moments stretch. You are no longer racing the clock. You are moving with it. This is what it means to step out of worldly urgency and into divine pacing. There was a season when you felt late, behind, outpaced by others. That feeling was never truth. It was misalignment speaking. Heaven does not measure progress by comparison. It measures readiness by alignment. Chosen one, you are ready now. This is why the restoration feels irreversible. Not because nothing challenging will ever happen again, but because your system now knows how to return to center. You have learned how to come back to yourself. That knowledge cannot be taken from you. There is a quiet confidence growing in you, a knowing that you will not be undone by pressure the way you once were. That knowing is not arrogance, it is trust. Trust in God, trust in your body, trust in the rhythm being restored. And as this trust deepens, you will begin to move through life with less resistance and more resonance, less forcing, more flowing, less explaining, more being. Chosen one. What is happening now is not dramatic because it is durable. Heaven is not giving you a moment. It is giving you a way of living, one where strength is sustained, clarity is steady, and your presence carries the weight of alignment wherever you go. Chosen one. As this restoration matures, you may begin to notice that your sense of direction is sharpening, not through pressure, but through quiet certainty. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions at once. Distractions that once demanded your attention now feel hollow. This is not disinterest, it is discernment awakening. There comes a moment in every divine realignment when clarity replaces noise. Not because the world becomes quieter, but because your inner hearing becomes refined. You begin to recognize what belongs to you and what never did, what is required of you and what was merely assumed. This is one of the most liberating stages of restoration. For a long time you were available to everything, to every demand, every expectation, every unspoken responsibility. That availability came at a cost. Your energy was scattered across obligations heaven never assigned. When strength returns, one of the first things God restores is selectivity. You no longer give your life force away unconsciously. I remember learning this the hard way. There was a season when saying yes felt righteous, but it left me empty. I confused obedience with overextension. It wasn't until I allowed God to close certain doors without explanation that I realized rest is not withdrawal. It is stewardship. Chosen one. Heaven is teaching you the same lesson now. Your body is responding to this shift immediately. Boundaries create safety. Safety creates flow. Flow restores vitality. This is why your energy feels more contained now, not reduced, but gathered. You are no longer leaking strength. You are conserving it for what matters. As this happens, you may feel an unfamiliar firmness in your decisions. You don't need as much validation. You don't rehearse explanations. You simply know when something is right or when it is complete. This is not detachment. It is alignment solidifying. Anointed one, there is also a deepening of purpose occurring beneath the surface. Not the kind that demands action immediately, but the kind that settles like a compass. You don't yet need the full map. Direction is enough. When heaven restores timing, it often withholds details to protect peace. You may notice that impatience is losing its grip on you. Situations that once triggered urgency now invite trust. This is a sign of authority returning. Authority is calm because it knows it cannot be rushed out of position. There is a maturity forming in you that does not look like aging. It looks like integration. Your experiences, your lessons, your losses, they are no longer fragmented. They are beginning to speak to one another. What once felt like contradictions are becoming context. This is why old wounds no longer define you. They inform you without controlling you. Pain has become wisdom, memory has become insight, and insight is now shaping your future without bitterness. Chosen one. Your restoration is also changing how you see yourself in relation to others. Comparison is losing its power. You no longer measure your progress against someone else's timeline. You recognize that alignment cannot be duplicated. Each calling has its own rhythm. This realization brings relief. You stop striving to keep up. You stop fearing being left behind. You understand deeply that what is meant for you will meet you at the right moment, not because you chased it, but because you stayed aligned. Your body understands this truth before your mind fully articulates it. That is why tension continues to release. Shoulders drop, jaw unclenches, breath deepens. The body always responds first when truth settles. There is also a quiet joy emerging, less reactive, more rooted. You laugh without effort. You smile without guarding. These are not small things. They are signs of internal agreement. Joy returns when the soul no longer has to perform. Anointed one, you are not becoming passive. You are becoming precise. Precision does not hurry. It waits until movement is clean. Heaven does not waste energy. It deploys it when the environment is ready. This is why your restoration has come now and not earlier. You needed to learn discernment before receiving acceleration. Speed without wisdom exhausts. Speed with wisdom builds. As this season continues, you will find yourself increasingly comfortable with stillness. Silence will feel nourishing rather than empty. This is where revelation often deepens, not in noise, but in presence. God speaks most clearly when the system is calm enough to listen. Chosen one. The version of you emerging now is not dramatic. It is dependable. It is steady. It is capable of carrying weight without strain. This is the kind of strength that lasts. And as this strength settles, you will begin to sense that your life is no longer fragmented into seasons of survival and recovery. A new continuity is forming, one where growth, rest, and purpose coexist. That continuity is the mark of restoration reaching maturity. You are not being prepared for a moment. You are being established for a way of living where heaven's timing and your body's rhythm finally move as one. Chosen one, as this continuity settles into your life, you may begin to sense something quietly powerful. Your future no longer feels heavy. For a long time, thinking ahead carried weight, questions without answers, responsibilities without clarity, expectations without grace. But now the idea of what lies ahead feels lighter, almost welcoming. This is not because uncertainty has vanished, but because fear has loosened its grip. When heaven restores timing, it also restores trust. Not blind trust, but embodied trust, the kind that lives in the chest, the breath, the posture. You begin to carry tomorrow without bracing for it. You stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios. You allow space for outcomes you cannot yet see. That space is not emptiness. It is faith taking form. I've watched this happen in my own journey. There was a season when every plan felt fragile, every step cautious. I tried to secure the future by thinking harder, preparing more, anticipating everything that could go wrong. But all that effort only tightened my body and narrowed my vision. It wasn't until I released the need to control timing that strength returned. The future didn't change, my relationship to it did. Chosen one, that same shift is happening in you now. You may notice that decisions are coming more easily, even when they are significant. You are not rushing them yet. You are not stuck in indecision either. This balance is rare. It emerges when intuition and wisdom finally trust each other, when the mind listens to the body instead of overriding it. Your body, in fact, has become one of your greatest allies in this season. It signals truth before logic catches up. A sense of ease tells you when something aligns. A quiet tightening warns you when something does not. This is not anxiety. It is discernment integrated at the physical level. Anointed one. This is what it looks like when the spirit leads flesh, not by force, but by harmony. You are also beginning to experience time differently in your daily life. Hours feel less compressed. Even busy days no longer feel frantic. There is room to breathe between moments. This is one of the most tangible signs of Kairos alignment. Time expands when urgency releases. This does not mean your life is slowing down. It means it is no longer fighting itself. Movement without resistance conserves energy. Purpose without pressure sustains momentum. You are learning to move from center rather than from obligation. As this continues, your relationship with work, creativity, and contribution is shifting. You are less motivated by proving something and more by expressing something true. Effort feels cleaner. When you rest fully. When you act with intention. Fragmentation dissolves when alignment takes hold. Chosen one. This restoration is also redefining success for you. Success is no longer just accomplishment. It is coherence. It is ending the day with energy left. It is waking without dread. It is being able to hold responsibility without losing joy. These are signs of divine order re-establishing itself. You may notice that you are less reactive to external chaos. News opinions demands they still exist, but they no longer penetrate as deeply. This is not apathy, it is anchoring. Anchored people do not need to harden themselves to remain steady. They stay rooted. There is a deep confidence growing in you that does not rely on constant reassurance. You trust your pace. You trust your process. You trust that what is meant to meet you will arrive at the appointed moment. This trust is not naive. It has been earned through endurance, reflection, and surrender. Anointed one. Endurance has refined you, not diminished you. The seasons that tested you also trained you to recognize peace when it arrives. Many people resist restoration because they have forgotten what ease feels like. You have not. Your body remembers. This is why restoration feels natural now, not foreign. It fits, it settles, it integrates. Heaven does not impose wholeness. It restores what belongs. As this stage continues, you may find yourself less interested in rushing to the next milestone. You are present in the process itself. This presence is not stagnation, it is depth. Depth creates resilience. Resilience carries purpose over time. Chosen one. Your life is no longer divided between moments of striving and moments of collapse. A new rhythm is forming, one that can hold growth, challenge, rest, and joy without fracture. This rhythm is sustainable, it is wise, it is strong, and perhaps the most profound change of all, you are beginning to feel at home in yourself again. Not because everything is perfect, but because nothing inside you is at war. When inner conflict resolves, energy flows freely. This is what it means to be restored in timing, not rushed forward, not dragged backward, but established, fully present, fully alive, and ready to move with heaven's pace into whatever unfolds next. Chosen one, as this inner homecoming stabilizes, something quietly profound begins to emerge. Your sense of authority no longer feels borrowed. For a long time, confidence came and went, depending on circumstances, outcomes, or affirmation. Now it is taking on a different quality. It is rooted. It does not rise and fall with approval. It stands because it knows where it comes from. Authority that comes from alignment does not need to announce itself. It is felt. You may notice that people respond to you with a different tone. Conversations slow when you speak. Conflict softens in your presence. This is not because you are trying to manage the atmosphere. It is because your internal world is no longer fragmented. Unity carries weight. There was a season when you questioned yourself more than necessary. You replayed decisions. You wondered if you missed something, said too much or not enough. That pattern was never about insecurity. It was about responsibility carried without reinforcement. When heaven restores reinforcement, self-trust returns naturally. I remember a time when I second-guessed even the simplest choices. Not because I lacked wisdom, but because I had been stretched thin for too long. Once strength returned, certainty followed, not certainty of outcome, but certainty of direction. That kind of certainty does not shout, it settles. Chosen one. Your self-trust is being rebuilt now at the deepest level. You are learning to listen to yourself again, not to impulse, but to intuition shaped by experience and surrender. When intuition matures, it becomes reliable. That reliability steadies the body and clarifies the mind. This is also why your boundaries are becoming clearer without becoming rigid. You can say no without guilt. You can say yes without over-explaining. Boundaries no longer feel like defenses, they feel like definitions. You know what belongs to you and what does not. As this clarity grows, you may notice that your energy no longer spikes and crashes the way it used to. Emotional highs and lows smooth into steadier waves. You still feel deeply, but you recover more quickly. Recovery is one of the greatest signs of health. It means the system knows how to return to center. Anointed One. This restoration is teaching you resilience without hardness. You no longer need to brace for impact. You can bend without breaking. That flexibility is strength refined. There is also a deeper patience forming in you, not the passive kind, but the anchored kind. You can wait without anxiety. You can pause without fear of being forgotten. This patience is not about delay, it is about trust in timing. When trust returns, urgency loosens. You may notice that your prayers, your reflections, even your thoughts are changing. They are less frantic, less conditional. You are no longer bargaining with heaven, you are conversing. This shift marks maturity. Relationship replaces striving. Chosen. One, maturity is not aging, it is integration. You are integrating lessons without carrying their weight, wisdom without bitterness, experience without exhaustion. This is the fruit of restoration done right. Your body recognizes this integration before your mind names it. That is why movement feels smoother, why your posture subtly changes, why your eyes carry a steadiness they didn't before. These are physical signs of internal agreement. The body expresses what the soul settles. As this continues, you may find yourself drawn to simplicity, not minimalism as a trend, but simplicity as clarity. You prefer what is true over what is impressive, what is sustainable over what is intense. This preference is not retreat, it is refinement. Anointed One, heaven often prepares leaders by removing noise, not adding volume. Influence that lasts does not depend on spectacle, it depends on consistency. You are being shaped for that kind of influence now. There is also a quiet courage emerging in you, not the kind that rushes into conflict, but the kind that stands firm without needing to prove itself. You are less reactive to misunderstanding, less shaken by opposition. Courage rooted in identity does not need validation. You may even notice that fear responds differently now. It still appears at times, but it no longer dominates. It passes through instead of settling in. This is because fear thrives in fragmentation. When the inner world is unified, fear loses its foothold. Chosen One. Your restoration has reached a stage where it is no longer just healing you, it is equipping you to hold space for others without losing yourself, to move through pressure without absorbing it, to lead without overextending, and perhaps most quietly transformative of all, you trust God differently now. Not with desperation, but with familiarity. Trust has shifted from a plea to a posture. You no longer feel the need to prove faith by endurance alone. You live it through alignment. This is the kind of authority that grows slowly but lasts long. It does not rush to be seen. It stands ready when called. And as this authority settles into you, your life begins to speak for itself, steady, grounded, and unmistakably aligned with heaven's pace. Chosen One. As this authority settles into your daily life, you may begin to notice a new relationship forming between you and movement itself. Not just physical movement, but movement through seasons, conversations, decisions, and transitions. You no longer rush exits or force entrances. You sense when something is complete. You recognize when something is ready. This discernment is not learned overnight. It is the fruit of alignment sustained over time. For many years, transitions felt abrupt for you. Doors closed without warning. Seasons ended before you felt finished. That instability trained your system to stay alert, always preparing for the next shift. But heaven does not want you living in constant readiness. It wants you living in presence, and now presence is becoming your default. I remember realizing this shift myself when endings stopped feeling like loss and started feeling like release. What once felt like being pushed forward began to feel like being guided. That difference changes everything. Guidance carries peace, pressure carries fear. You are learning to tell them apart. Chosen one. This is why transitions are gentler now. You still move forward, but without being torn from what you're leaving. Integration makes change sustainable. Nothing inside you has to be abandoned for growth to occur. This integration is also changing how you experience your body in motion. Walking feels more grounded. Gestures feel more natural. Even your stillness carries intention. This is not self-awareness in the anxious sense. It is embodiment. You are fully present in your form, not disconnected from it. When the soul and body agree, movement becomes expression rather than effort. That is what you are stepping into now. Anointed one. There is also a quiet refinement happening in how you relate to your past. Memories that once surfaced with charge now arrive with context. You can see how certain delays protected you, how certain disappointments redirected you. This does not mean everything that happened was good. It means nothing was wasted. Redemption does not rewrite history. It reassigns meaning, and meaning restores strength. You may notice that gratitude is rising naturally, not as a discipline, but as a response. You appreciate things without clinging to them. You acknowledge progress without comparing it. Gratitude flows most freely when pressure is gone. It is the language of alignment. There is also a strengthening of your internal compass. You feel less swayed by other people's urgency, opinions, or timelines. Not because you've become indifferent, but because your reference point has stabilized. You no longer outsource direction. Chosen one. This is one of the clearest signs that restoration has reached maturity. Direction is internal again. Guidance is intimate. You do not need constant confirmation. You recognize truth when it resonates. As this continues, you may find that your relationship with rest changes even further. Rest is no longer something you earn after exhaustion. It becomes a rhythm woven into your days. You pause before fatigue demands it. This proactive rest preserves energy instead of repairing damage. This shift alone can feel like aging backwards, not because time has reversed, but because wear has stopped accumulating. When strain is removed, vitality returns. Anointed One Heaven is teaching your system how to live without depletion. This is rare in a world built on urgency, but your calling requires sustainability. Burnout was never part of the design. You may also notice that your sense of joy is becoming quieter but deeper. It does not depend on constant stimulation. It does not disappear when things are ordinary. It lives beneath the surface, steady and reliable. This kind of joy is resilient. It does not shatter under pressure. There is a reason this joy is returning now. Joy strengthens the body. It expands breath. It loosens tension. It signals safety to the nervous system. Heaven restores joy not as decoration, but as infrastructure. Chosen one, your restoration is also influencing how others experience you. Without trying, you create space for people to slow down, to breathe, to reflect. Your presence gives permission for regulation. This is influence without effort. You are becoming someone others feel safe around, not because you fix them, but because you are no longer fixing yourself. Wholeness invites wholeness. As this stage unfolds, you may feel less compelled to narrate your journey. You don't need to explain what you've learned. You embody it. This embodiment speaks more clearly than words ever could. Anointed one, you are no longer living as someone recovering from something. You are living as someone established in something, established in rhythm, established in truth, established in timing. This does not mean challenges will never arise. It means challenges will no longer disorganize you. You have learned how to return to center. That skill changes everything. And perhaps the most subtle but profound change of all, you no longer fear being fully present in your life. You trust that presence will not cost you safety. You trust that rest will not cost you progress. You trust that alignment will carry you where effort never could. Chosen one, this is not the reversal of time. This is the restoration of order. And order, once restored, continues to produce life in ways that do not fade. Chosen one, as this order continues to hold, something even deeper begins to surface. Your sense of purpose is no longer abstract. It is no longer something you chase wonder about or try to decipher in fragments. It is becoming embodied. You feel it in how you move through the day, in how you respond to people, in what draws your attention and what no longer does. Purpose is no longer a concept. It is a posture. For a long time, purpose felt like a destination ahead of you. Something you would arrive at once you had enough clarity, enough strength, enough confidence. That framing created pressure. It made you feel as though you were always preparing but never quite arriving. Heaven has been gently correcting that misunderstanding. Purpose is not where you end up. It is how you live when alignment is restored. I learned this slowly. There was a season when I kept asking God for the next assignment, the next instruction, the next door. I thought movement meant obedience. But what I was really being taught was presence. When presence settled in direction, stopped feeling elusive. It emerged naturally from who I was becoming. Chosen one. The same transition is happening in you now. You are discovering that purpose does not require constant motion. It requires congruence. When your inner life matches your outer actions, meaning flows without strain. You no longer feel the need to overinterpret every sign or overanalyze every opportunity. You sense what resonates and what does not. That sensing is enough. This is also why certain ambitions are softening, not because you have lost desire, but because desire is being purified. What once felt urgent now feels optional. What once felt impressive now feels empty. What once felt distant now feels unnecessary. Refinement does this. It removes excess without removing depth. Anointed one, your calling was never meant to exhaust you. It was meant to express you. When expression replaces effort, vitality returns. You may notice that when you speak about what matters to you now, your energy increases rather than drains. That is a sign of alignment. Life flows where truth is spoken. There is also a growing courage in you to be seen as you are, not as you perform. You are less concerned with how you are perceived and more attentive to whether you are aligned. This shift brings freedom. Freedom releases tension. Tension release restores strength. You may notice that conversations are changing. You listen differently. You respond more slowly. You are less interested in convincing and more interested in understanding. This is not passivity. It is discernment expressed through restraint. Mature authority does not rush to speak. Chosen one, heaven is shaping you into someone who carries weight without carrying noise, influence without force, presence without performance. These qualities do not age, they deepen. As this deepening continues, your body responds with steadiness. You feel less reactive to stress. Recovery happens faster. Fatigue does not linger the way it used to. This is not because challenges have disappeared. It is because your system is no longer fighting itself while facing them. There is also a subtle shift in how you experience desire for the future. You still want things, you still dream, but longing no longer feels desperate. It feels patient. Patient longing trusts timing. Desperate longing fears loss. Heaven is teaching you the difference. Anointed one, patience is not delay. It is strength that knows how to wait without weakening. When patience grows, the body rests more deeply. The breath steadies. The mind clears. These are not separate experiences. They are one movement of restoration. You may also find yourself drawn to fewer things, but with greater focus. Scattered attention drains energy. Focus restores it. Heaven is narrowing your field, not to limit you, but to empower you. What you give your attention to now receives your full presence. This is why joy feels more contained, but more stable. You are no longer chasing peaks. You are living from a steady center. This kind of joy does not burn out. It matures. Chosen one. Your restoration is reaching a point where it no longer feels like something happening to you. It feels like something you are living from. That shift marks establishment. Healing becomes habit. Alignment becomes default. You are also learning to trust the unfolding, not because you understand every step, but because you recognize the pattern. Heaven has been consistent. Restoration has been gradual but undeniable. That consistency builds confidence without pressure. And here is something important to recognize: you are not behind. Nothing in you is late. Nothing essential has been missed. Timing has been honored, not wasted. The years that felt slow were doing work beneath the surface that speed could not accomplish. Chosen one. The strength you are experiencing now carries memory. Memory of what it took to get here. That memory makes this strength humble, grounded, and durable. It will not disappear the next time life presses in. You are not aging backwards to relive something old. You are being restored forward to inhabit something true, a life where purpose does not demand your depletion, where timing does not provoke anxiety, where presence sustains movement. And as this restoration continues to unfold, you will find that what once felt complicated is becoming clear, not all at once, but steadily, step by step, breath by breath, in a way that does not shock your system, but strengthens it. This is not a moment passing through you. It is a foundation forming beneath you. Chosen one, as this foundation settles beneath you, you may begin to recognize a new steadiness in how you meet the world. Situations that once pulled you into reaction now meet you in composure. You are not detached. You are anchored. This anchoring is not something you practiced into existence. It emerged because inner agreement has taken root. There was a time when your sense of self felt porous. You absorbed the emotions of rooms you entered, the expectations of people you loved, the urgency of systems that never paused. Over time, that absorption blurred your edges. You learned to adapt quickly, to read atmospheres, to carry more than your share. Those skills kept you moving, but they cost you energy. Heaven is restoring your edges now, not to isolate you, but to define you. Defined people conserve strength. They know where they end and where others begin. As this definition returns, you may notice that empathy no longer exhausts you. Compassion flows without depletion. You can care deeply without carrying what does not belong to you. This balance is a mark of maturity, not detachment. I remember realizing this shift when I could sit with someone's pain and still leave with my peace intact. That was new for me. It wasn't because I cared less. It was because I trusted God more to hold what I could not. When trust grows, the body relaxes, the shoulders soften, breath deepens, energy returns. Chosen one. Your system is learning that it does not have to stay vigilant to stay safe. Safety is becoming internal, not conditional. This internal safety is what allows your strength to stabilize. It is why you can now face uncertainty without tightening, why you can hold responsibility without bracing. There is also a recalibration happening in how you handle pressure. Pressure no longer feels like a threat. It feels like information. You sense when to engage and when to step back. You do not rush to resolve everything at once. This discernment protects your energy and sharpens your effectiveness. Anointed. One, effectiveness does not come from constant motion. It comes from accurate movement. Heaven is refining your sense of timing so that when you move, it matters. When you speak, it lands. When you rest, it restores. Precision replaces urgency. You may also notice that your internal dialogue has changed. The voice that once criticized now observes. The part of you that once rushed now waits. This is not passivity, it is self-leadership. When the inner leader emerges, chaos loses authority. There is a growing kindness toward yourself in this season. Not indulgence, but respect. You listen to your limits without judgment. You honor your needs without apology. This respect is not self-centered. It is stewardship. A well-stewarded vessel can carry more without breaking. Chosen one. This is why your restoration feels durable. It is not built on emotion alone. It is built on re-established order. Order creates sustainability. Sustainability carries purpose over time. As this order continues to integrate, you may find that certain old fears no longer have access to you. They still exist as memories, but they no longer command your attention. Fear thrives on immediacy. When you are grounded, fear loses momentum. There is also a quiet strengthening of faith, not as belief alone, but as posture. You trust God without negotiating. You obey without needing to see the full picture. This trust is not dramatic. It is consistent. Consistency is what the body responds to most. Anointed one. Your body is learning that faith is safe. When faith feels safe, the nervous system settles. When the nervous system settles, vitality returns. This is not mystical abstraction. It is alignment expressed physically. You may also notice that your sense of worth is less reactive. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not deflate you. You receive feedback without losing center. This steadiness is rare. It is the result of identity no longer being outsourced. Chosen one. You are no longer defining yourself by what you produce, how you perform, or how quickly you adapt. You are defined by alignment. Alignment does not fluctuate with circumstance. It deepens with consistency. As this stage continues, you may feel drawn to fewer explanations. You do not need to justify your choices. You trust the wisdom that led you here. Silence becomes comfortable because you are not hiding. You are resting. There is also a subtle joy in simplicity emerging. You find satisfaction in ordinary moments. You notice beauty without searching for it. This joy is not dependent on outcome. It is the byproduct of presence. Anointed One presence is where restoration proves itself. When you can be fully here without anxiety, you know something has shifted. You are no longer preparing to live. You are living. And perhaps the most significant change of all, you feel capable again, not in the frantic sense, but in the grounded sense, capable of holding responsibility, capable of sustaining growth, capable of walking forward without losing yourself. Chosen One, this is not a peak moment. It is a stable platform. From here, whatever unfolds will meet you in strength, not strain, in clarity, not confusion, in rhythm, not resistance. You are not being rushed into what is next. You are being established for it. Chosen One, as this establishment deepens, you may begin to sense a quiet expansion taking place within you. Not an outward push, not a demand to do more, but an internal widening, a sense that you can hold more life without strain. This is what happens when restoration reaches capacity. You are no longer managing your strength, you are inhabiting it. There was a time when your system was always preparing for depletion. Even in moments of peace, part of you stayed alert, waiting for the next demand. That vigilance shaped your posture, your breathing, even the way you planned your days. Heaven has been gently dismantling that pattern. You no longer need to anticipate collapse. Stability has become your baseline. I remember when I first noticed this in myself. I was in the middle of a demanding season, but something was different. I wasn't bracing. I wasn't counting how much energy I had left. I simply moved through what was required and realized afterward that I still had presence to give. That was new. That was restoration reaching its depth. Chosen One, this same depth is forming in you now. Your body is learning that strength does not have to be guarded tightly to be preserved. When strength is rooted in alignment, it renews as it is used. This is why fatigue no longer signals danger the way it once did. You recover more naturally. You trust your system to rebound. There is also a strengthening of your internal narrative. The story you tell yourself about your life is changing. You no longer frame your journey as something that happened to you. You see it as something that shaped you. This reframing releases power. When meaning changes, the body responds. Anointed One meaning is not abstract. It influences posture, breath, tone, and movement. When you no longer see yourself as delayed or diminished, your system stops preparing for loss. It opens to continuation. This is why the future now feels spacious rather than threatening. You are not rushing to secure it. You are confident that what is meant to unfold will meet you in the condition you are now established in. You no longer fear being unprepared because you recognize that preparation has been happening all along. You may also notice a deepening compassion for your former self, not pity, but honor. You see how much you carried without complaint, how much you navigated without guidance. This compassion softens the body. Self-judgment tightens muscles. Self-understanding releases them. Chosen One. This self-understanding is part of restoration. Heaven does not restore by erasing the past. It restores by reconciling it. What was fragmented becomes integrated. What was endured becomes wisdom. As this integration continues, your sense of timing grows even more refined. You know when to engage fully and when to conserve. You recognize when a moment calls for action and when it calls for restraint. This discernment protects your energy and amplifies your impact. There is also a noticeable shift in how you experience confidence. It is no longer something you summon, it is something you carry. It does not depend on outcome, it does not waver with uncertainty. It rests on alignment already achieved. Anointed One. This kind of confidence does not rush to prove itself. It waits because it knows its moment will come. Waiting does not weaken it. Waiting strengthens it. You may also feel a renewed respect for your own limits. Limits no longer feel like obstacles, they feel like guidance. You stop pushing past them out of fear. You honor them as signals that preserve longevity. This respect extends your strength rather than reducing it. Chosen one. Longevity has become part of your calling. Not longevity of years alone, but longevity of influence, clarity, and presence. Heaven restores not just for now, but for what must last. There is also a gentleness returning to your interactions. You are less abrupt, less hurried, more attentive. This gentleness is not fragility, it is precision. Gentle movements waste less energy. Gentle words land more deeply. As this stage unfolds, you may notice that gratitude arises without prompting. You are thankful not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer fighting yourself. Internal peace makes room for appreciation. Anointed one. Peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the absence of internal resistance. You have learned how to move with life rather than against it. That learning cannot be undone. And now something important is taking shape. Your life is becoming sustainable, not just productive, sustainable. You can imagine continuing forward without burning out. You can see yourself growing without losing yourself. This vision alone restores hope at the cellular level. Chosen one hope is returning not as a wish, but as an expectation rooted in evidence. Evidence of what God has already restored. Evidence of what alignment has already produced. You are no longer waiting for permission to live fully. You are living from a place that no longer needs permission. This is not rebellion, it is maturity. As this restoration completes its work at this depth, you stand not as someone repaired, but as someone re-established. Re-established in rhythm, re-established in trust, re-established in strength that does not fade under pressure. And from this place, whatever unfolds next will not overwhelm you. It will meet you in readiness, not the anxious kind, but the grounded kind. The kind that knows how to hold what comes without losing what has been restored. Chosen one. As this restoration reaches its fullness, you may begin to notice something unmistakable. You are no longer negotiating with life. You are inhabiting it. There is a settled quality in you now, a quiet readiness that does not depend on circumstances lining up perfectly. This is what happens when alignment is no longer something you seek, but something you stand in. For a long time, life felt like a series of thresholds you were trying to cross, moments where you wondered if you were ready, if you had missed your timing, if something essential had slipped past you. That tension trained you to keep scanning for signs, for confirmation, for reassurance. Heaven has gently closed that loop. You are no longer living at the edge of anticipation. You are living from a place of arrival. I remember realizing this shift not in a dramatic breakthrough, but in a quiet morning. Nothing had changed externally, yet everything felt different internally. There was no urgency to catch up, no pressure to prove momentum. I simply moved through the day with presence intact. That was the moment I understood that restoration had completed its work at the deepest level. Chosen one. That same completion is happening within you now. Your body confirms it before your mind articulates it. You wake without bracing. You move without forcing. You rest without guilt. These are not small changes. They are evidence that the internal contract of survival has been replaced with an agreement of trust. Trust in God. Trust in timing. Trust in yourself. This is why fear no longer dictates your decisions. It may still appear, but it does not lead. It does not rush you. It does not shrink you. You can acknowledge it without obeying it. That capacity alone marks freedom. Anointed one. Freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It is the ability to carry responsibility without losing yourself. You have learned how to do that now. You can hold weight without collapsing. You can lead without overextending. You can care without depletion. These are the marks of someone restored to original design. There is also a sense of wholeness returning to your identity. You are no longer divided between who you are in private and who you are in the world. The gap has closed. Integrity has settled in. When integrity is restored, energy stops leaking. This is why your presence feels different to you and to others. You are not performing coherence. You are living it. Coherence carries authority without effort. It draws trust without explanation. Chosen one. You are also recognizing that the years you once questioned were not empty. They were formative. They shaped discernment, patience, depth, and compassion. Those qualities are now integrated into your strength. Strength without depth is brittle. Yours is not. You may notice that your vision for the future has changed. You are no longer imagining escape. You are imagining expansion. Not expansion that costs you peace, but expansion that flows from it. You can see yourself growing without fragmenting, building without burning out, giving without draining. Anointed one. This vision is realistic because it is aligned. It is not driven by fantasy or pressure. It is informed by wisdom gained through experience. Wisdom does not rush. It prepares space. There is also a deep gratitude forming, not forced, not performative. Gratitude rooted in reconciliation. You are at peace with how your life unfolded, not because everything was fair, but because nothing was wasted. That peace frees energy locked in regret and redirects it toward life. As this gratitude settles, joy stabilizes. Joy no longer spikes and fades. It resides. It accompanies you through ordinary moments. It does not need to be chased. It emerges naturally when resistance is gone. Chosen one. Your restoration has done something profound. It has given you yourself back. Not the version shaped by fear or urgency, but the version capable of presence, endurance, and truth. This is why aging feels reversed, not because time has moved backward, but because strain has been removed. You are no longer measuring yourself by what you have left to prove. You are living from what has already been restored. That posture changes everything. There is also a readiness in you now to walk forward without needing guarantees. You trust that what unfolds will meet you in strength. You trust that even challenges will not undo what has been established. This trust is not naive. It is grounded in evidence of restoration already completed. Anointed one. You are standing in a place where the past no longer pulls you backward and the future no longer drags you forward. You are centered. From center movement is clean. This is not the end of your journey. It is the end of fragmentation. What comes next will not require you to abandon what has been restored. It will build upon it. Chosen one, you are no longer waiting for life to begin again. It already has. And this time, it is moving with you, not against you. Chosen one, as this sacred hour closes, receive this truth with reverence. Your sealed prophecy is opening, your hidden scroll is being revealed, and you are standing in your exact Kairos moment on heaven's clock. This is not coincidence, this is confirmation. What has been restored within you will now begin to manifest around you gently, faithfully, and in divine order. Remain aligned. Guard your rhythm. Walk forward with gratitude, knowing heaven is ahead of you, not behind you. If this moment bore witness in your spirit, quietly seal it. Subscribe to stay aligned with what is unfolding and write the city you're in, so this anointing flows where you stand. Go in peace, anointed one. time is bowing and destiny is responding.